You guys know me. I want him. I want my D
I
tackle.
like this. I like that you went him.
Yeah, well, actually, I think someone commented on YouTube asking about Alfred Collins because they said that was their guy they want in that second and third round over Tyreek because we talked about Tyreek last week. So I was like, you know what? I'll talk about Alfred Collins because he's whenever I do my mocks, he's always there in that second, third round kind of area. So Alfred Collins, defensive tackle, Texas, 6'6", 332. Guy is enormous, well-built guy. And on top of him being a well-built guy's an athlete. Collins played basketball, football, and ran track at Cedar Creek High School. Just testament to his kind of overall athletic ability. 5-star recruit in Texas. So, this guy's a phenomenal athlete. And 6'6", 332, and that's just wild. Just kind of look at the notes like I do with every one of these things. I kind of compile different websites and what they say about players. Just the positives for Alfred Collins. Has a splendid stack and shed ability at the point of attack and offers elite length and hand power. Sturdy, dense build that offers major short area power and pure strength. Offers legitimate alignment versatility to play in the A gap or B gaps. Alternatively, play over top or have tackles in odd fronts. Negatives, kind of like the whole Tyreek thing. Not the best pass rushing defensive tackle, so we're getting kind of more of a run stuffer. So limited pass rush due to hip tightness and modest first step explosiveness, which is what I read on a lot of different experts. At times struggles with pad level. He's a tall dude, so struggles with the pad level and also a big blocking surface when undisciplined. And 1 year of sample size of dominance despite extensive playing career at Texas. So yeah, this guy has played. He's one of those COVID players, so he's been playing for a long time, but only really one solid year. One thing I did see from an anonymous NFC personnel director, quote, he's a legit specimen. With the right coaching, he could end up taking off and becoming the best interior player in this draft class, which is saying a lot just because how deep that we talk about D tackle every week. This is a deep defensive tackle class. So he's supposed to go slot to go expert wise anywhere from round 2 to round 3. That's the window where Alfred Collins will go. We've talked about defensive tackle. JD and I just said that this is, so we've been saying it for months, that this is one of the biggest needs on the team, if not the biggest. Alfred Collins will be a guy in the second, third round kind of guy if we don't go D-tackle in the first round. So this guy will be there. What do you guys think about Alfred Collins, JD, Tej?
Watching him on tape, man, I think he's okay. He's not one of my top ones by no means. But I think he could come in and be a pretty decent player. As far as like jumping off the screen to me, just, like you said, looking at the highlights, even the highlights was like, okay, there's nothing spectacular. So, I don't know. Shoot, his size in itself, like you said, with the right coaching, could you unlock something in him to make him just an absolute dog? I think that remains to be seen. But I think he could come in and be a solid DT, no question about it. And then you could, like you said, if you wanted to move him up and down the line, you could. But he's not going to give you anything on pass rush. That's and I'm looking for a guy inside to give you something on pass rush. Can you kind of do it all? I'm sorry. If we try to get a defensive tackle, we got to get a guy here who's going to come in and absolutely light it up. And so that's for me. That's what I look more for as a defensive tackle, especially when we get in the draft. Not necessarily filling holes, because we got guys already here that is going to be able to fill holes. Tillery, Pennell, those guys can do that. We need another explosive guy that can help out Chris Jones, where we just want a terror on the line of scrimmage. So that's my thought.
I do like the idea because I've been seeing this this past year of his stats. There were 6 pass deflections. I do love the idea of having him and Jones, like two big, tall dudes at the defensive line. I know he's not a pass rushing specialist by any means, this guy, but to have another set of hands who can just knock down a ball, I do love the idea of that. I mean, 6 PDs last year, having him and Jones there with those monstrous arms up. Woo, love that wingspan.
I want a guy to come get at it. That's why I want to see him push the pocket. That's what I want to see. shoot, you can get lazy, stay in the line of scrimmage, just put your arms up and block the ball down.
That's true.
We ain't looking for somebody lazy. We need somebody make the quarterback move a little bit. Shoot, get you a strip or something. So
is that what separates between? So let's say, because you talk about that, right? The aspect of going potentially being lazy and using your wingspan, right? Tyreek, we talked about last week, doesn't have the wingspan, but motor was not an issue for him. Tyreek has the motor, and he can come at you all day long. However, he was more of a run stuffing DT. But if we're talking about between the two, between Alfred Collins and Tyreek, where would you stand, JD, between the two of them? Neither one's a pass rush specialist, so that's why I asked.
I know it. I think probably Tyreek, man, because of what he can do against the run. If everything being equal, I like him more, and I do like his motor. I do like his motor a lot, man. He doesn't give up on any play. That's what I love about him. On Tyreek, this one, I think Alfred, man, needs a little bit of maybe some growing and stuff, but you can mold him. Like I said, good coaching or something like that. But G is right there with me. They're a better interior D line. We need a rusher. We do. We need a rusher. We need a guy that's going to be able to push a pocket. We need a guy that's going to be able to penetrate, get up the field. Those guys right there are so dangerous. They're dangerous. Anytime you can make a quarterback move, that's what I want to be able to see. Now I know we do a lot of reading from, right off the nose tackle, the 3 technique, but shoot. We got to be able to move. Yeah, Neff said, too stiff. So, all types of big guys can fill holes. That's true. And he's right. Need better pass rushers. Yeah. So, we don't need guys to fill holes, man. We need guys to, absolutely be, like I said, a terror. Make it hard for them. Shoot. So.
Teja, your thoughts on Alfred Collins?
I like Collins. I totally hear what you're saying. It's just not going to find a guy in the second, third round who can do all those things well. You're going to have to pick and choose. Do you want more of a pass rusher who's going to have to come off the field on obvious rundowns, or do you want a guy who can play the run and hopefully develop, better pass rushing skills, who can also, in his case, bat down balls and still be effective on passing downs? All the guys who can do both are probably gone by the time the 30s are over, right? You have Nolan, you have Harmon, you have just the guys in our range, Nolan, Harmon, and then you have, I think the last guy who could probably do that is Alexander, who I like a lot. We've already talked about. I think he's a run stuffer and he penetrates. He does both. So I think any guy who does both at a high level is gone by 38. After that, you got to start saying, we need a guy who can do this, but we also need a guy who can do that. What can we develop, and what does this guy already have? And how hard is it to develop those skills in that guy when he already brings these other intangibles? Collins is a good player. He's durable. He played 64 games at Texas. He played 3 tech. He played 5 tech. He played 100 snaps at nose tackle last year. He's very aware. He's a very smart player. He doesn't blow you away, I think is what you were kind of alluding to earlier, JD. But he doesn't have an extremely high ceiling, but a really high floor. You know what you're getting out of him. When he played all 3 spots last year, never looked out of place in any of them, right? So you can throw him around. We know Chris Jones gets his 6-play rest on a series. Collins can move over. You can move Pennell next to him. You can have him play a little nose next to Chris Jones. You can do that with him, which I think we like the versatility aspect of it. Not a creative pass rusher, an overall consistent player. He plays really good, smart read and react football. One of the knocks on him I kept reading wasn't a regular starter. You kind of hinted at this too, Marcus. Not a lot of production, even though he's played a lot of football there. Dude had Murphy and Sweat playing ahead of him. Come on now. That's not, not many guys had that good of D-tackle play ahead of them the past 2 seasons. That's ridiculous to have ahead of you. So
yeah, stacked D-line for sure.
I don't fault him for not playing as much with those guys. And maybe that gave him some of the versatility he had, because they were like, well, we got Murphy, so you're going to have to learn to play here or you're not playing. So got it. Well, we have Sweat, so you're going to have to learn to play here or sorry. Not the most explosive, not great pursuit speed. and his pad level also gets the best of him sometimes. It might limit his pass rush special, his capabilities. But a good player, I think, second, third round for sure. I don't think he will not make it to our. We have a lot of guys who are saying this about. He will not make it to our late third round pick.
I think you get a guy that could do it. So if you did, I would rather go for a guy that does cause penetration and stuff like that. Like what's the name? Was
your boy Sanders, TJ Sanders?
Norman Lott.
Norman Lott, yeah.
You know, I mean,
Norman Lott and Sanders, great penetration.
Sanders, another one. The man is explosive to get through. I mean, will work a guard to get back there as a pass rusher. I mean, those are the guys that I love. I love guys like that.
But they're going to have to come on the field on run plays, though. So to start off their careers for the first 1 or 2 years, they're going to be situational inside pass rushers, though, right? If you're okay with that, then that's fine.
No, I think they could play all 3 downs. Absolutely. Sure, they did it in college. The thing is, you know, with the scheme that you have, and somebody made it. I think Melly Matrix said that because if you're sitting over here and you get to a point where, you know, you got to blitz all the time to try to get penetration or get back here to the quarterback, then, you know, penetration hurts anything, run or pass. And so we're just looking for a guy like TJ Sanders or Omar Lott to cause penetration. Penetration in itself is dangerous against a line of O-line. So that's what I want. I want a penetrator. I want a guy that, like I said, I want a guy sitting back there jumping up to bat down the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, shoot, I want you up the field. Get up the field, cause havoc. We need a more havoc guy than, you know, Chris Jones.
So let me ask you.
Norman Lott played 84 snaps against the run last year, so they did not put him in run situations at all. 84 snaps against the run.
Who's that?
Norman Lott. That's a really low amount.
Yeah, well, I mean, but that's Tennessee. We bring it in. Hey, man, come on. We want you 3 down. And if you're in a rotation, right, if you're a rotational guy, cool. Like this guy right here, Alfred Collins, you know, the same thing. You want to take him out on 3rd down. If you're going to do that, well, shoot, then I'd rather have the guy that penetrates, that can do that on 1st and 3rd down, as opposed to a guy that can't get that, you know, because I think, I mean, this is a passing league. Let's just call it what it is. Shoot. So you got to disrupt the quarterback. That's why they're paying quarterbacks $50 million, because they're the ones throwing the ball all around, around the field. So,
Jay, let me ask you this, because we're talking about like preferring a guy who's more of a run stuffer versus a guy who's more of a pass rush specialist from the D tackle spot. What's easier to teach and develop? A guy becoming more of a run stuffer, or a guy kind of teaching him to become more of a pass rush specialist if he already has the run stuffing background?
Say it one more time, please.
What's easier to teach? Teaching a defensive tackle who's more of a pass rushing guy naturally, is it easier to teach him to become more of a run stuffer, or is it easier to teach the guy who is the pass rushing specialist to become more of or a run stuffing specialist to become more of a pass rush specialist?
Oh yeah, no, dude, it could be, you know, a run blocker, run stuffer. Because the thing is penetration. So what you're doing is you're using your hands heavy on the offensive line, okay, and it should shock the guys up front, right? So you press in, push, shed, come off, and make the play as a run stopper. If you're penetrating, right, it kills everything that you're doing as far as like if they're trying to run counter or zone, any of those things. So then all of a sudden you can't get a double team on a guy. Why? Because he gets skinny in the hole, he penetrates. So it already helps the guy that's trying to go up to the second level. You kill that too. So we need a disruptor. And so guys that can have that explosion, man, always dangerous. Always hard to contend with. Let's think about my man, you know, Cincinnati always had D tackles that always did that, right? They was always disruptor. Why? Because they would always penetrate. That's always hard to deal with. It's penetration D tackles, you know, to get up the field. Those guys are always a problem. Always a problem. Always hard to handle. And so what else helps out with that as well is just in case you want to, you know, stunt or loop with the defensive end, you know, it helps out too with that. You know, making guys want to switch. So that combination of ET stunts and all those things, man, help out as well. So if you can penetrate, man, that's what I need to do. A big dude like this, who's just a run stopper, man, you make your offensive line an easier job. Well, shoot, I know he ain't gonna go after it. 1-2 punch, and he stands there and you just trying to get his hands up. Make my job easier.
It's also size too, right? I mean, Norman Lott, for instance, is 6'2", 290. You're not going to be stuff and run at that size. You need to put on like 15 pounds if you want to start stuffing runs and clogging lanes.
So what is he? 6'2" what?
290.
Yeah. I mean, he's a spark plug. 6'2", 290. How big was Turk? How big is Turk?
Turk was pretty small.
6'1", 280.
I'm trying to tell you, man. The quickness and stuff that Turk displayed this past year, it was his best year ever. And what was that? It was a quickness. It was his hands. It was his speed getting up the field. He showed a different guy as a player with that.
For sure. I thought we were talking about run stuffing though. Turk Wharton wasn't a run stuffer by any means though.
But he played every down. It didn't matter if he was in there or not. I mean, he played every down, and he was able to kind of run stuff a little bit if he needed to. Like I said, sometimes it's just the penetration getting up the field. And so a guy like that, man, who's bigger, 6'2", 291. I don't even know how many times he bench pressed the thing. I mean, I'm sure, when I looked at him, he's pretty athletic, and he had some really good hands on him. My thing is, like I said, at D tackle, we want a guy that is that pass rusher penetration. Yeah, DT with pass rusher side is what features. Yeah, we need that. We ain't had it. The only one he had is Chris Jones, and Chris is getting double teamed. Why? You don't have to worry about the other guy. You don't have to. So that limits you what you can do. Same thing like Melly Maker said, man. We don't need to have to always blitz and call it out. Get two guys that's going to get up the field and get after the quarterback. Make Joe Burrow and all those guys, Josh Allen, make them jokers move. Make a move.
Yeah, that's why I love guys like Alexander and Harmon because they just do it all.
Yeah.
That's why they're either first rounders or borderline first rounders, right? I mean, they have it all. There's no really hardcore weakness to their game. They can stop the run. They can penetrate. They can do it all.
Yeah, that first round's gonna be the key to this whole thing because if Harmon or Nolan are there and Josh Simmons is not there, then I think you go with one of those Nolans or Harmons of the world. But if not, then like we go Josh Simmons, then we're stuck with the guys we're talking about, the TJ Sanders, the Alfred Collins is in the second round.
Yeah, we may get to an Alexander. Just like I said, it's always about need, what teams are looking for. Which was a priority here and there.
True.
So
true. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.